Hi, my name is Sarah Ballantyne, also known as the Paleo Mom, and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to talk about green plantains. I love cooking with green plantains, especially with baking. It's rapidly becoming my favorite grain-free flour substitute. I'm very sensitive to nuts, and this allows me to do some pretty awesome grain-free baking without using nut flours or nut meals. And actually, in terms of chemistry, I think that baking that uses plantain actually tastes and the texture works out even better. Now, green plantains, you'll notice, look an awful lot like a banana. They're actually from the same botanical family, which is why they look so similar. Green plantains tend to be a little bit bigger, and they tend not to have the big stem. These are typically found in the same area of a grocery store. You'll usually find a big display of bananas in bunches, and then a smaller box somewhere to the side of plantains, typically single. You don't often find these in bunches. Plantains will start very, very green, greener than this one, typically without even any of these little black spots, although if your plantains are green and do have some black spots, that's typically okay. And then they will start to ripen. They will turn the color of a ripe banana, and then eventually they will get black spots and turn completely black. If a recipe calls for a green plantain, you want it this green or greener. If it calls for a ripe plantain, you want it almost completely black on the outside. Green plantains are wonderful because they're very starchy and have a very neutral flavor. So they're fantastic for baking, but also as a potato substitute. You can make terrific French fries using plantains. They're fantastic roasted. They're fantastic boiled and mashed, like Mofongo. Ripe plantains have a apple meets banana type flavor, which works really well in some sweeter type recipes, although I have some recipes that are savory recipes that use ripe plantains, like my plantain lasagna. So that flavor can work really well in certain situations as well. When a plantain is the yellow of a banana, that's kind of the in-between phase, and you don't want to use it at that level. The flavor's kind of awkward, not quite starchy enough to be neutral, not quite sweet and appley enough to work well in desserts. So when it's this color, then you'll want to let it sit on your counter for a couple of weeks. Plantains take a long time to ripen, 3-4 weeks to go from yellow to completely black, depending on the temperature of your kitchen. Now, green plantains can be a little bit difficult to find in a grocery store. So when I find them, I buy 10, sometimes 12. We use a lot of plantains in my house because we make pancakes just about every weekend. But still, I like to stock up, and then I keep them in the fridge. That will slow the ripening. It will continue to yellow a little bit on the peel, but the inside will stay pretty green for 10 days, even 2 weeks. If I'm not going to get to my plantain in that period of time, I freeze it. So what I do is I peel it and chop it up, or sometimes peel it and puree it, throw it into a freezer bag or a freezer-safe mason jar, and I put it in the freezer, and that works really, really well for baking recipes. I don't think I would do that if I was going to roast the plantain afterwards, but if I was going to blend it up into a pancake batter, that's a great way to go, and that way I can stock up when I find them. I can also do all of the work of peeling them and pureeing them in one go, which is a great time saver if you want to make pancakes during the week. So now I'm going to show you how to cut one of these guys up. So when you're cutting a plantain, it helps to first cut it in half, then cut each half lengthwise in half again. Then what I like to do is grab the corner and get my thumb right underneath there, and you kind of pry and drop it, pry the peel off. Now, if you've been keeping your plantains in the fridge, it will be a little bit more difficult to peel the peel off. So I always like to let my plantains come to room temperature before I do this. And also a really, really green plantain will be more difficult to peel. Sometimes, see where the peel has broken? That will happen. I just pry underneath again. Every once in a while, you'll get a little bit of peel stick here, and then you can just use your knife to carefully peel it off. Now this is a great way to easily peel green plantains if you are going to puree these for, say, something like my pancake recipe, or if you want to then cut into semicircles to either roast plantain or simmer it to make mofongo. If you wanted something like plantain chips, you were going to deep fry these or roast these to make something like, they're like French fries but made out of plantains. You could then, you see how I just cut along the side. That's probably about 3/8 of an inch thick. And then you can cut long strips. Let's just cut that one underneath separately again. Deep frying these for about 5 minutes in lard is especially wonderful, and then they're like French fries. So that is how you peel a green plantain.